We're going to do another Fear Reacts video to why everyone is quitting Sparking Zero, and it's getting worse.
What's up, guys? It's Yex. Sparking Zero is dying. Not really, but people are starting to quit the game, and it's kind of concerning. And today I want to talk.
So Sparking Zero is dying, but not really, and everyone is... A lot of people, it is getting worse, okay? People are leaving the game, and it is getting worse. I would actually say for sure the game is dying. I went as far as to say that the game is dead or will be dead soon or is dead to a lot of people. So if you don't know, 84% of all players, active players, have dropped the game. And if you want to go to the absolute low, that's more of like a mid number to average number. If you want to go to an absolute low, it's actually the all-time low was October 30th, right? At 7,420, which is about 6%. Yeah, it's 6%. So 94% of people, if you want to be like super cruel about it, 94% of people have left the game, the active player base, right? I would say it's more closer to like 84, but it could be that low as well.
Talk about that. I want to talk about the issues with the game and what I think that needs to be fixed in order to keep people from leaving this game entirely. And trust me, there's a lot of issues with this game, and I'm gonna go over it right now in this video. No long intro, let's just get right into the video. I just want to start off immediately. I just want to get this point across. Like, I think this should be the most important thing that they should fix. It's the stupid fucking connection issues. Like,
oh dude, it's horrible, horrendous. I said that if I bought this game, right? I said that I would keep this game if, on one condition, if the connection was good. Nothing else would have mattered. I would have bought it, paid full price, and I would have kept it, and I would have just had it. Right? If you don't know, I bought a physical copy because I had a feeling that this wasn't going to be that great of a game, that it was overhyped, and a lot of people are talking about it now. Obviously, the hype is dead, right? A lot of people are saying, you know, the game is definitely dying. The hype is dead. Is the game dead yet? Well, not quite yet, probably, but for me it's dead, and for 86 to 94% of all players that bought it, it's dead. So we take that 3 million that people like to throw around, right? 3 million copies. It's actually about 480,000. So from that 3 million, about 480,000 are actually playing it right now. All the other people just have it sitting there, and they probably are not going to play it all too often again. They might play it a little bit here and there, but the hype has died down. They've realized that this is not as great a game as people were saying. I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be the best thing ever. I love Dragon Ball. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, but I personally think that DBZ Fighters was a much better game. I got a lot more enjoyment out of it. I got a lot more fun out of it. I got a lot more positive emotions out of it. Part of it is because it was a balanced game, right? But also because it's not just about it being balanced or not balanced, because everyone says, they told you that it was unbalanced. Well, some of us didn't get the memo or weren't able to get that information before we formed an opinion, right? Some of us just said, oh my God, we felt that positive pressure, that hype of this is a great game. Everyone's saying it's the best game. I don't know. People were saying it was the best game. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, Fighters is also a Dragon Ball game, and it's way better, right? In so many different ways. Even if you want to look at an authentic experience, like what part of the authentic experience, right? There's different ways that an experience can be authentic. I get it. It's like a 3D map, and it does look beautiful the way that you traverse through the 3D environment and fight and do things, but the feeling isn't there coupled along with what you're physically seeing. So it's very hollow and empty. It's actually overhyped, and it's more like we're seeing things through rose-colored glasses. I played over 200 or 300 competitive matches online, and that was it was causing a lot of issues. The connections.
the fact that we are 2 weeks out of launch and we have no word.
Yeah, the connection being weak caused a lot of issues. Also, the rage quitting is insane. No penalties for rage quitters is insane. They should have learned from Naruto Storm Connections and implemented some kind of rage quit penalty, We don't want that. But you can't. This is the other side of it. You can't really enforce a rage quit penalty on a game that isn't stable online. You can, but it's not really. It doesn't solve the problem, right? A lot of people don't like that, but they just want the win, even if it's a fake win, right? They don't realize that the game could be lagging for the other person and that they're not actually earning their wins, which happens a lot in Storm games. This is just, I've been getting this information out over the last few months, but it is factually true. I don't know exactly how it works in this game. I only played this game for 2 weeks, but I mean, we do need penalties for levers and lever penalties, right? But also you need to like fix the online stability so that there's no reason to leave. And then you also have to fix the bugs and like balance it to a degree so that it doesn't have to be super balanced, but it needs to be balanced to a degree that it's reasonable, right? That people aren't just getting easy, cheesy, cheap wins.
On any kind of update or ETA and when they're going to fix the connection issues. But that's probably the main reason why certain players are just straight up quitting the game and uninstalling. I know for a fact that I've seen many forums on Reddit and Steam.
Yeah, man, I that was my thing. I left the game just based off of that. There's a lot of other things too, but that was just my requirement for better or worse.
Even that Xbox players were having like the longest queue times ever for ranked. They can't
I never heard about that, but that's interesting if that's true. If Xbox had it even worse.
connect to any kind of server. Xbox players are basically suffering right now, and it's kind of...
Yeah, maybe. I know that they were suffering in connections. Everyone was saying that it was a horrible time for Xbox players on connections. Like, I don't think things even worked properly online.
sad. I have like a little list right here next to me on my phone, just so I can stay on topic. But for the second thing I think people are leaving for, I've seen personally, the controls are so weird and unresponsive at times. Like, I don't know why, but for certain...
This is 100% true, okay? This was my main issue. The first thing that snapped me out of the honeymoon phase of this game, you know how in relationships you have a honeymoon phase, and then after that you kind of see it exactly how it is, for better or worse. And sometimes it's still good and reasonable, but other times you're like, oh, wait, what am I doing here? What am I doing in this relationship, right? Same thing with the game. Like, the game just came out, and it's so hard to, like, actually give it some constructive criticism in aims and hopes of making the game better, in aims and hopes of drawing the right attention to the developers so they can maybe hopefully make the game better for the players in the long term, right? This is the hope of it. The hope is not to hate. The hope is not to just be negative all the time. It's, hey, this thing is actually happening. Let's explore this. Oh, this is what it is. Unresponsive controls. Totally, dude. I mean, there were some online games that were perfectly fine. I'm guessing, I don't know, I didn't look at this, if this is peer-to-peer. Let's check. Early access here. It's definitely janky in PvP fights, not always, but often. It is janky. A lot of people are talking about this janky netcode in online experience. We experienced it. I experienced it a lot in singles matches. I played mainly singles. It could be peer-to-peer. I'm not sure. Okay, unconfirmed. We don't know, but it very well could be peer-to-peer. Because the Naruto Storm games are peer-to-peer, right?
Controls like on standard. I'm pretty sure class controls has this issue too, but like...
Yeah, so the issue here is the same issue in Storm games, where you go to do something and you're reacting to something on the screen, but then they're already there, right? And you guys are seeing two different things on the screen. So one person seems to have, and likely has, sort of almost like a future sight or future experience. Like, they're easily able to react. They have a reaction advantage, right? Or they have a character option select advantage, or strength advantage, or team advantage, where those certain characters work better online due to frames, maybe having less, more active frames and less downtime in their frames. So that they just work more often consistently over time. A lot of people will pick those characters, right? Like in Storm game, like Nagato, Mifune, Neji, right? Neji is a good one. A lot of these characters like that, they're kind of lag resistant or lag proof. The same type of thing may happen in this game as well.
Certain actions are just unresponsive, and the game overall just feels like there's a delay.
Yeah, it definitely feels super sluggish. Like, Like when I'm playing offline versus online, or even sometimes online, it's fine, but not great. But then, have I had great games? Probably. But like other times, you're like pressing the button and then there's a massive delay, even just to charge your key and stuff like that. Or it will take longer, like you would have awakened. So if you hold down the, charge your key and you awaken, right? That time from the second you pressed it to the time that you awaken could be less or more depending on the lag. And then you get hit or interrupted by the other player and then you can't awaken. But you had enough time depending on the situation to awaken, but then you can't.
Like trying to do certain things like a follow-up attack into like let's say like a super. You follow up with a super, either it doesn't work or you're sitting there spamming perception when you're not trying to spam perception. Even when I go into like a throw, let's say, I throw somebody, I try to go into like maybe like one of my supers, my like a rush attack.
Well, supers, this perception is interesting because it's super safe, right? And perception is like has a lot of frames. So like a lot of people are spamming perception because it's just like an option select, right? An option that you select that covers most of your bases. And it just works most of the time, whether it's lagging or not. And I did notice if you do a lot of perceptions online though, like sometimes the other person will just like walk up to you and grab you. There's so much time because the connection is so bad and laggy. Versus like I have had a handful of fights where it's not very laggy online at all and we're really fighting and boxing and it's super satisfying, right? But you're gonna get this inconsistency
It doesn't
of lag and inconsistency of jankiness and combat in general.
immediately go into the rush attack. It would do another follow-up attack 2-3 times, and when I don't want it to do that, I want to go straight into a rush special, but some reason like it's delayed or it's unresponsive.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. That's crazy. And then you just like, well, I guess I'll just charge key or waken or something, because he's close to it anyways.
I don't know why that is. Hopefully they fix that in the next upcoming patch or so, and it makes the game overall feel more clunky and unresponsive, and I hope they fix that soon. Oh boy, so this is where
Yeah, I definitely do agree that the game feels clunky sometimes, and whether I win or lose, I want a real experience. I have no problem losing because I can learn from my losses, but you cannot really learn from a laggy loss. You really can't. And it just ruins the entire experience, and most people are not even aware. They think it's a skill issue or it's not that bad. That's not the case. That lack of consistency online kills the game. Your entire game is fighting, right? For the most part. Is there a story mode? Yes, but it's like it's a picture-based story mode for the most part. They just give you screenshots, right? And it's not that super interesting. It was okay. It was decently fun to play, but it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great of a story mode, in my opinion. It could have been better, right? But you don't play it for that. You play it for fighting. And if you play it for fighting, and then online you can't actually do the fighting consistently, then, I mean, what are we doing out here, right? Game after game, this happens. They do this with all the anime games.
But this community is so fucking toxic. Like, holy shit, bro. Like this community is just so unhinged at times.
Man said unhinged. It really is. The community is toxic. It's super toxic and unhinged. Good use of words. I mean, the Storm Connections community and the Storm 4 community is also like that. I mean, there was always, even in Storm 2, Storm Generation, Storm 3 days, it was like that. But actually, I was there during that whole time and it was nowhere near as bad. Was there toxicity? Sure, but it was not that bad. Nothing compared to nowadays. It's crazy. It was a lot better back in the day, guarantee you. A lot more fair people, a lot more people advocating for fun and fair based experiences. And, if you know what a social contract is, it basically means a way that I'm not going to tell you exactly what it means, but my understanding of it is that the way that you behave in a social setting between two people, and it's like a contract, right? And you both try to uphold your end of that contract. So if people are saying, hey, don't spam key blast too much, right? Or don't just click on blockable characters, or don't just stall all the time, like in Dragon Ball Sparking, these are issues. But back in the day, it was, hey, stop using Shinra Tensei, Pain Shinra Tensei all the time in Naruto, because it ends the discussion. There's no counterplay. It just counters everything, and it just steals your turn. And that was happening again in Connections more than ever with that specific Pain character in Naruto and his Shinra Tensei. But then instead of balancing it, they just nerfed it into the ground and said, well, now it's not a problem, but now you can't enjoy it either. Just because a developer attempts to balance or fix something doesn't mean that the game will even be better afterwards, or that's what people were asking for. It's unfortunate, but the communities are toxic. Yeah.
Times. Like, this community is so toxic to the point where I'm seeing people like actually like talk shit to certain people about who's like genuinely giving criticism and feedback on the game, and it's usually followed up by some troll or something that's saying like, oh, it's just a skill issue, or there's nothing wrong with the game. If you don't like the game, don't play it, or what heroes do you play because
it's a skill issue, or if you don't like it, don't play it. Yeah, those are the generic blanket statements, right? Or this game is not meant for casuals or something, but it's the casuals that fund your game. If the casuals don't buy your game, the company isn't going to make a ton of money. It might not even break even, depending on the situation or the game. Of course, in this game, it made a lot of money and it did more than break even. It did really well for itself. But this is the fear, right? This is the issue here that we're trying to solve for. Is that also the IP they have to make basically a new game every year, right? Or every couple of years within their contract, because they are licensing the game, right? They end up licensing the game and they have to make a game in a certain time frame because that contract will go out to another developer. So there's a lot of issues here that in the background that they're solving for, right? Yeah, I 100% agree with this guy. I think he's fantastic. I'm going to like the video, and we're going to keep talking, but I'm going to like the video here. Let's see what happens.
X plus da 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 da. You're probably not as good as you think you are. Just being absolute dicks for no reason. Like right now, there's a lot of elitists and like, oh, I'm better than thou people in this community.
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of elitists, even in the Connections and Storm 4 community, and they've brought the toxicity into Connections, right? But also, maybe not them specifically, but they brought that into Sparking Zero. Maybe not them specifically from the Storm community, I think they did, but there's people in the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero acting the same way, also acting elitist, also acting just acting over emotional and overly attached to the game. And I understand why, because I keep telling people, I understand. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. I understand. I've been a fan of his a very long time, but one of my favorite games is actually Chrono Trigger, right? For the Super Nintendo. And it's an RPG, but he designed all that stuff. He designed the characters and the enemies and a lot of the stuff in that game, and it's very similar to Dragon Ball or anything else that he's done. So that love that people share of his, not just in an art style, but also in the characters that he develops, or, the passion and the storytelling that he has, people have that love, but it doesn't justify having these half-baked games over and over and over again. Our idea here and our aim is to have constructive criticism to better the game so we can have better products. It's not acceptable to have games that are full of bugs. This game has an invincibility glitch, a switching glitch, all these other glitches. There's tons of glitches. And it's like, okay, they said that the game wasn't going to be balanced, fine, but then it also should be fun at least, right? And that's the thing. I don't find it that fun either. And it's almost like a sin. You can't say these things, even if you have these points, like really good, fleshed out points, right? And thought out points. It doesn't matter. You've said something bad about it, you're a hater all of a sudden. It's a very weird cult-like mentality that exists in Connections in Storm 4. And it also is happening here as well. Not all the time, but it does exist. And it's a very unhinged, as Yex has said here.
And it's honestly kind of childish. I think it's sad that these elitists and whatnot
100% childish. That's a good word.
Are going
unhinged is kind of crazy though, but he's not wrong.
To drive away these players from the game. They sit here and write like 2 paragraphs.
84 to 94% of all the active player base, the people that bought this game, said, "I'm hitting the road. Goodbye, Charlie. Take care. Peace out." Because people don't like this level of I think that especially since this game is like, come on, man, this is like 17 years, right, since the last games. The people in the community are old enough that they're like in their early to mid 20s, right, or even late 20s to 30s. Like these people should have enough maturity to have the patience and be like, okay, it's a casual. Let's not, you know, let's not destroy them. Let's not roast them. Let's not, sacrifice them in the name of Akira Toriyama. It's like, come on, man. Do you think he would want that? Especially, it's the same thing. It's like Naruto, the anime. If you're an anime fan of Naruto, if you're an anime fan of DBZ, then you understand that purity. You understand how important it is to try to be a good person. You understand how it is, to try to be a leader and a hero. And the people in the community, a lot of the people in the community do not exhibit those things, right? They like it, they want to do it, but it's more about trying to be strong in power complexes and power fantasies, and then they bully people. There's so many bullies in these anime games, and they just bully people straight out the door, saying horrible things about them.
Paragraphs or a whole fucking book about how your opinion is wrong. It's absolutely insane. I think we as a community need to do a better job of like policing these people and telling them to like chill out and relax. And for my fourth point, this kind of coincides with,
well, policing them. I get what you're saying. I don't really like the idea of necessarily policing them, but I think there could be like the culture. We talk about the culture of maybe just being more positive, being more aware, and understanding how to maybe treat a casual player and encourage them and introduce them into, hey, this is a fun game, man. Don't worry, we're not gonna we're not gonna destroy you for having a bad opinion. From our end of on our end, the way things look, the game is actually pretty fantastic. Here's why. But hey, give it some more time. Don't give up on the game. You're gonna get a lot more positive reaction. You're gonna lose a lot less of your fan base, and I don't think it's just the casuals leaving though either. I think a lot of competitive and pro fighting game players play this too, and they're like, "Oh man, these guys are childish. We can't work with this. They're just too emotional and too negative."
just the last point with the community. But rank mode, not just rank mode, but just this current meta right now, it is so awful. It's just nothing but constant cheese and OP characters. People are using the same like 10
It's fusions, right? All the fusions, unblockable characters with unblockable supers and ultimates and all that. There's transformations where it seems like you don't really have enough time to transform, not all the time, but then the other player somehow is always transforming at the right time, and then they get a super power boost if they pick the lower character and go higher. That's kind of cool because it's accurate and genuine and authentic, but at the same time, feeling, being on the receiving end of that is not so much fun. It just ends up being a snowball spiral, and people just pick these option selects and do these things. After image strike, there's the Senzu bean. I never, actually picked or used a Senzu bean or a Yajirobe ever in this game. I was aware of that strategy and I just chose not to do it.
OP characters. They're running 10 different low DP teams that consist of like Master Roshi, Videl, Yajirobe, some kind of character that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I never used Yajirobe, but like the Master Roshi and Videl, I really like those characters, and I think the game promotes you to do that when you have 15 DP points or whatever. Then it just kind of nudges you in that direction to say, hey, pick these characters that are only twos, out of. There's a lot of people, like, or pockets of people, groups of people complaining about every little thing in the game. And it's like, yeah, the game is unbalanced and you kind of have to pick your poison, pick your cheese and pick the lesser of all the evils or whatever, or pick what you can live with. Because there's so much cheese, right? There's getting your health back. A lot of characters get health back. A lot of characters will paralyze you. There's instant transmission.
Can either have instant sparking or after image strike, and they just abuse and exploit the absolute shit out of.
Yeah, instant sparking is crazy, and then you get instant sparking with buffs, right? So like SSJ for Gogeta, it's like you press that, you go into instant sparking, you get crazy buffs, and you do insane damage, and the person just dies. It's crazy.
Of these characters,
it's too automatic, right? It's too automatic, and it's too free. Even if something is unbalanced, you still want there to be some level of balance. It doesn't need to be super balanced, right? But like the game contradicts itself because it's like it says the game isn't balanced, but it's authentic. If it was authentic, then someone like Videl could never win against a fusion character or most of the characters in the roster. So it is contradicted. It does contradict itself, you know.
To win, and it makes the overall game, it makes the overall experience of ranked really boring and annoying to play. Like, here's the thing though, right?
I completely agree that this game is boring and it's not that fun. And it's like, cool, the game is unbalanced and the dev said it's unbalanced, but isn't that just kind of like a cop-out? Because it's not fun either. You know, like I get a lot more fun out of playing fighters, and I got a lot more fun out of playing any Storm game, any past Storm game. Pick your poison. It's like it's way better. Every Storm game is better than this game, guaranteed. If you get to know it, because like there's no depth and sophistication of mechanics, right? Very little, and then what there is, it doesn't matter because it gets trumped by very basic mechanics that a 10-year-old could use, like perception. Right, you just hold down circle, or hold down whatever button, you know, on system that you're on, and you just hold it down and you get perception and you get a counter, and it's so free. And I get it. I feel like that is made for the younger audience so that they can compete, but it's also made for a game that they know is bad online. They gave you a tool that would work online, but that is not competitive. So it's, you know, it's not balanced, it's not competitive, and it's not fun. I mean, what are we buying it for? I guess just the memory of Akira Toriyama. I mean, that's fine.
I play Kefla base form, I play Trunks Z base form, and I play Adult Gohan base form. But the thing is though, is like I really don't try to cheese my matches like everybody else. You know, that's, you notice like once you hit like B5, around like between B5 and like B1, that's where you kind of notice like there's a giant shift in like the overall skill. Between D and C, you know, you still got like people like maybe experimenting with certain heroes, certain characters, certain teams. So you're not really fighting, really seeing a lot of cheese down there in those ranks. But the moment you hit B5, or the moment you hit A rank or S rank, like almost every other game.
Yeah, I mean, they completely messed that up. And pretty much anyone can get into B5, right? Because you just keep playing and eventually you'll get there if you can win a few fights, because it doesn't really punish you very much at all up until that point or until later on or something, right? So like you just get through D's and C's pretty easily, like even if you're not that great at the game.
You're probably going to be fighting against an OP character or some kind of cheese. You know, it's like, yeah, I understand that the devs don't intend on balancing the game. They want everybody to be lore accurate, balance-wise. But at the same time, there should be no reason why, you know, a team of low DP characters like Videl and Yajirobe and Roshi should be dominating these lobbies like this. Like, it's not.
Yeah, that is kind of trolling, isn't it? Like having Yajirobe, Roshi, and Videl, and then just hitting After Image and Senzu Bean, like that's pretty bad. It's stalling, right? People don't like stalling. They don't like running. They don't like not playing, not experiencing, because it robs the other people of their experience of the game. It's a very troll-like behavior. It's totally trolling.
The characters that I have an issue with, it's just the abilities. Why do a lot of low DP characters have After Image Strike or some kind of instant sparking? Like, if we're gonna go with like lore wise, why does Videl have After Image Strike? I do not remember seeing Videl spamming After Image Strike in any other fights that she was in during the Buu Saga or any other time she was on screen. So why does she have that ability? And you have people that will sit there and run nothing but Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Vegito Blue, fucking Master UI Goku, Jiren, Dr. Wheelo, every other.
Yeah, Dr. Wheelo, UI Goku annoys the heck out of me. SSJ4 fine, but I actually find Ultra Instinct Goku and Dr. Wheelo worse, especially UI Goku and Brawlies. You know, people using Brawlies, people using some of the other characters.
Giant
as well.
character that can infinitely stun lock you with the dash. There's so much cheese mechanics in this game. It's almost like you either have to cheese your way to the top or sit down in like the lower mid ranks, deal with a lot of losses, and then slowly get better over time. But you kind of essentially hard stuck in a sense. Not entirely hard stuck, but it's more of an uphill battle trying to get out of those ranks, doing it solely based on like your actual mechanical skill in the game. Like if you were to look at like the high ranks, bro, like the top, like very, very top, like I'm talking like Z rank, it's so boring to watch.
Oh, dude, I completely agree. Like even at the highest rank where it's quote unquote competitive, Dude, the game is not balanced and it's not made to be competitive. And then online, it's even worse. Like offline, maybe it could potentially be competitive, but the way you're playing it online and the way you play it offline is two very different things. So, like, people don't understand that disconnect. And yeah, definitely boring. Really, really boring.
I really hope that the next couple weeks or so that we have some kind of word or update from Bandai regarding these issues. If they don't fix these issues soon, bro, this game's gonna die off very, very fast, and it's gonna be, and I don't want that to happen. It's gonna be very sad. This game's really fun. It's better than Xenoverse 2, better than Overwatch 2.
I agree that Overwatch 2 is a very bad game. Like, compared to Overwatch 1 is a million times better than Overwatch 2. Or at least 1,000 times. It's way better. Is this game better than Overwatch 2? I don't think so, just because out of the fact that... actually, it's kind of close, isn't it? Overwatch 1 is way better than this game, but Overwatch 2 is a really bad game. And they... I'm not going to get into that, but I see where he's coming with this. I can understand what he's saying. I don't agree... I agree with most of what he said in this video, like 90 to 99%.
You know, like actually a good game. So many issues hindering it that can be easily fixed, like right now. But anyway, that's it for the video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Alright, man. I'm gonna hit this like button right here, and I'll subscribe for a while to see what he posts next. But I don't know if I'll stay subscribed. But I thought this is a fantastic, amazing video. This guy could be a legend in the making. Very gutsy for not having a lot of subscribers, not having a lot of videos. Super smart, super intelligent person, and I think he's telling the truth. I think he's really good with what he said.